Hi everyone, welcome to Jerusalem. I'm so excited to be standing here right by the Kotel. What you can see behind me is the western wall, which is a retaining wall of the second Beit HaMikdash that was built by King Herod the Great just over 2,000 years ago. Now these bricks here are made of limestone and some of them are over 2 tons and they get even heavier as you go down. This whole site here, most of it was covered in 1967 when soldiers came and liberated the old city of Jerusalem, which was then under Jordanian control, and then excavated this area to what we see today. Now, when King Herod built this wall, it created a much bigger courtyard at the back, which you can see over there where the trees are. Now, this is where thousands of Jews came from all over the land to make pilgrimage and holidays like Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. So you can just imagine thousands of people coming here to offer a korban, because this is where both of the temples stood. Now, it's interesting that all korbans, except for one korban, were offered on this site where the Beit HaMikdash stood. And the one korban that wasn't offered is the red heifer, the red cow, which we learn in this week's Torah portion. Now, while other korbanot are related to actions, inadvertent actions that we do, for example, sin or guilt offerings or gratitude offerings, the red heifer is for death. It's to atone for impurity from death, which is something very separate that we do outside of this site. Now, the reason is that the other korbans are from actions that our animal soul can become aggravated by and get stronger. And our animal soul makes us insensitive to spiritual pursuits. So we would bring a korban here to try and suppress that animal soul and really lift up our godly soul. And in doing so, that would help us do more mitzvot, which is one of the primary reasons of creation, is for us to come and use our bodies and our animal soul to power us to do mitzvot, using our godly soul. Now, the red heifer would be burned outside the camp until it's just ashes. And then the person who was preparing it would become impure, whereas the person who would then get the ashes and from the red heifer would become pure. So this is really strange. How is it that somebody who is preparing it becomes impure, but the person who uses it becomes pure? So this we can learn from the name of the parsha, chukos, which derives from the root of the word chuk, which is a mitzvah that we don't understand the meaning of, but we do anyway because Hashem made it a decree for us to do. Because we can think also like, why a red cow? And there's other mitzvahs like, why not mix wool with linen? So these are all falling into the category of chuk. Now Moshe Rabbeinu is one of the greatest Jews to ever live. We call him a servant of Hashem, because he did everything that was Hashem's will, even if he didn't understand. And just like Moshe, for example, when he struck the rock, also in this week's Torah portion, to provide water for people who have been telling him, oh, if only we died in Egypt. Like, this is a total transformation. People who are complaining against him, he decides anyway to help them, to pray for their well-being, because Hashem commanded him to strike the rock. So just like Moshe follows Hashem's will, just for the sake of performing the mitzvah, so should we too. Now, one other thing that we can learn from this is that the red heifer was used to purify the Kohanim in the Beit HaMikdash who would actually perform the services there. Now, we don't have the red heifer yet today, and in doing so, we can't actually do the korbanot. Now, we know when Mashiach will come, we will have the red heifer again, and we'll be able to perform this once more. Now, one other event that happened here is first off, the binding of Isaac, but also Yaakov's dream. So after Yaakov took Esav's blessing and he was fleeing to Haran, because he was scared that Esav was going to kill him, he actually stopped right here. This is the biblical site of Mount Moriah. And Esav had a dream of many ladders going up to heaven. And in the dream, he saw the ministering angel of that land go up several steps and come down. And the number of steps is the number of years of exile that ministering angel land, for example, Babylonian exile, would be. Now, the final ladder that he saw, the angel ascended over 2,000 steps, way up into the clouds. And we know from the Midrash that he was scared. And he asked, what's happening here? And he's told, don't worry, the angel will come down from the ladder. And just like that, we know that the time of Mashiach will come, that this long galut exile that we're in now will inevitably end with a third Beit HaMikdash on the site where we'll have the red heifer again to be able to perform the korbanot and be much closer to Hashem. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful Shabbat, and I'll be thinking about you here from Jerusalem. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.